Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we are going to take a look at how the Strength Super Strike Trunks, performs after his Dokkan Awakening and Extreme Z Awakening in DBZ Dokkan Battle. So obviously Trunks got his EZA as part of his Super Strike revamp, so it's going to be interesting to see how well he does as a unit overall. Now he is a strength type Ki +3 and HP attack and defense is 77% lead, which isn't that important. He raises attack and defense for 1 turn on his super attack. In terms of his passive, he has attack and defense of 150% with an additional attack and defense of 40% and all allies Ki +1 per Savior's category ally, self-excluded, attacking in the same turn. So essentially he gains attack and defense of 80% and gives all allies 2 Ki when he has Savior's allies attacking in the same turn. He also has a high chance of foreseeing enemy super attack when there is an extreme class enemy, and all allies get attack and defense of 10% if all allies attacking in the same turn are Savior's category characters. All allies will get Ki +1 and attack and defense of 20%. So basically, if you remove these Savior's requirements, Trunks essentially has attack and defense of 150%. He also gives all allies Ki +1 and attack and defense of 20%, and he has a high chance of foreseeing enemy super attacks when there is an extreme class enemy. Only if there are Savior's category characters in the turn. Now if you have a full turn of Savior's category characters, Trunks is going to really show up. He's going to perform super well. But we'll take a look at how he does on a full Savior's team and how he does on a non-Savior's team. So Trunks has Messenger from the Future, Cold Judgment, Royal Lineage, Z Fighters, Super Strike, Soul vs. Soul, and Shattering the Limit. Honestly, out of all those links, pretty average. Cold Judgment's good, Messenger from the Future is good, Royal Lineage is good, and Shattering the Limit is good. Soul vs. Soul, Super Strike, and Z Fighters are super limited, and to find those combination of links is going to be quite difficult, but we'll talk about that at a later point. In terms of categories, he's got Hybrid Saiyans, Future Saga, Time Travelers, Vegeta's Family, Android Cell Saga, Bond of Master and Disciple, Saviors, Battle of Wits, and Entrusted Will. Here we have him linked up with one of his better linking partners, the Physical Super Trunks, and they share 3 links at this point in time. They're also getting 50% defensive support from the Gohan, as well as Trunks getting the attack support as he is an Entrusted Will category unit. We see he's got a pretty good starting point with over 160k defense, being very strong. He doesn't have Cold Judgment active at all, and we're going to see 2.5 million as a pretty good starting attack stat. So this is 2 Savior category units on the rotation. Very strong start from Trunks. After he supers, he's going to have over 200k defense, which is very good. And also we must remember that he does give the other 2 units in the rotation 30% in the form of support and 3 Ki as well. So Trunks can really beef up the other members of his rotation, especially when they are Savior's category units. Now an important thing about Trunks to take note is his link set. So Messenger from the Future is a strong link set for the Future Saga team. Cold Judgment is a decently strong link overall, obviously giving 20% defense and 25% defense at its max link level. Royal Lineage becomes a 2 Ki and attack of 5% link, which is good. Z Fighters, an uncommon attack link that you're probably not going to activate. Super Strike, only really Super Strike units. So yeah, Soul vs. Soul, also not very common. We're going to get it here, but it's also not great really. I mean, weakens enemy regeneration, does now give 2 Ki and 5% attack and defense, but it's only really something you're going to get with a Super Trunks. Sharing the Limit is probably his most common link, being a 2 Ki and attack and defense of 5% link. Overall his link set's not bad, but he's another one of those units that's going to share 3 links with a lot of units, or 2 or 3 links with a lot of units, rather than having specific units that are 4 or 5 key links with them, at least at this point in time. Only other real units he could link up with are other Trunks team units, and all of those obviously you can't link together because of the naming convention. But again, we saw a decent turn from Trunks there. A really good performance overall. He does do a hell of a lot of damage, which is always very impressive. 2.5 million is good. It is, of course, his best situations. He's got full Saviors category units on the turn. He's got 3 links active, or 4 sometimes, and he's got support on every rotation. But 2.5 million is a very good start. Not to mention the fact that he will have the ability to foresee extreme class enemy super attacks. He can be a very good unit, specifically on a Saviors team. We're going to have him have Cold Judgment active now. 177k defense is very good. So Trunks can hit some pretty good heights. I think comparatively to Mighty Mask, I think Trunks is very good. I think Mighty Mask was good as well, but very limited, whereas Trunks, I feel, is, although limited to Saviors, can still function pretty well. And we'll see how he does there, but he does do alright as well there. And I think overall his skill set is pretty strong. 2.5 million again. Obviously, if you add equipment and you link level him, you could possibly get him to above the 3 mil mark. But 2.5 million is a very good starting point. It's very, very solid. For a Rainbow free-to-play unit, it's very good. Couple that with a pretty much 200k defense after super, if not over. He's looking really solid. I think, they were a little bit hesitant because foreseeing super attacks is a very powerful ability. So what we've got here is we're going to have him on a Hybrid Saiyans team. Obviously, there are some Saviors category units on the team, so it's going to give you a good idea of how Trunks does when he doesn't have Saviors units, or when he has only one Saviors unit on the team at any given time, which I think is good for Trunks overall. So definitely a very solid performance from him on the Saviors team. Is he worth the orbs? It's very difficult to say. There's no real Saviors related content that I think warrants needing Trunks specifically. There's no Saviors, super difficult Saviors based challenge. The Saviors team is kind of like a gimped Hybrid Saiyans team. Why run Saviors when you could run Hybrid Saiyans, I guess, is probably my presiding theory at this point in time. So we've got Trunks here. He is linked with the LR. So he has a good rotation for Trunks. So he's only got one Saviors category on the unit, but he does have obviously Cold Judgment active. So we're seeing that 177%, that 177k defense, which is really solid. And we're going to see him do pretty well here. We're going to see him perform pretty strong. Obviously, after supering, he's only got one Saviors unit on his team, so he's not going to have that full 40% attack and defense buff, but he is going to be pretty solid right off the bat. Now we should see the attack stat drop. That should be pretty straightforward because obviously we're missing that one Saviors unit. We will see the attack stat drop, although not by too much. I think the combination of link set and everything does make it work quite well. The legendary Trunks is not on the Saviors, so just a full heads up, the legendary Trunks is not on Saviors, which is a bit of a shame because they'd actually make a really, really potent pairing. I think they'd be super strong. One unit that I do not have that this Trunks does technically work really well with is the physical LR Trunks. So they share Shattering the Limit, they share Cold Judgment, they share Royal Lineage, which is all very, very solid link sets. Between them, that's a very, very solid 30% defense and 10% attack, but with a lot of ki. So that is one unit you could definitely link him up with, and I think would definitely be a great unit for him to link up with. Trunks' ability to critical hit, his ability to have super high defense, they'd both be a super duper solid combination to run, and they're on a lot of categories together, which I think would be pretty solid overall. So you can definitely run him with that physical Trunks if you want to. Probably will do you some good, I guess is the way to say it. But yeah, overall, honestly, Trunks is looking pretty good. To put it bluntly, he's looking really, really solid on a non-Saviors orientated team. So here we have no Saviors on rotation, 150 or so K defense, so very solid. We're not going to get as big a boost now, so Trunks' defense will be below the 200k mark at this point when he supers, but just under. It's, it's still going to be pretty solid. We do have a 30% support on rotation, which is important to note, and we do still have Cold Judgment active. So all these things are very important to be aware of, obviously. But overall, Trunks is looking pretty good. I think he's a great unit. I think there's no reason not to grab him. I think he does help out your team or your box or whatever you want to do. But overall, I definitely think Trunks is a great addition to any box. Very similar with Mighty Mask. Even though these units are sometimes limited or anything like that, there's no reason not to pick them up. They are free to play. Whether you should put the orbs in him is going to be entirely dependent on whether you like Trunks or like the Saviors team. I personally don't think there's a need to put orbs in him. He looks very solid with orbs, but doesn't necessarily mean you should put orbs into him. 2 million is a very decent attack stat though, and like I said, it could go up with equipment and that, but the highest I probably see him reasonably getting with only one support on a full Saviors team is maybe above the 3 mil mark. I see him reasonably getting that. I think that's possible, but yeah, like I say, I don't see it happening all the time. But you could definitely get him there if you want to put the effort into this free-to-play unit. Is it worth it to get 3 million with a free-to-play unit? I don't know. It's difficult to say. But yeah, in terms of build, by the way, just in case you're wondering, you want to go full crit. Full crit's going to benefit you the most, as Trunks doesn't do additionals or anything like that. He also only gains norm or raises his attack and defense very little bit on his super attack, and it's only for one turn, so multiple supers isn't entirely needed to make him a defensive juggernaut. You can do that anyway just by sticking him in the second slot on an all Saviors team. But that's it from Trunks. We're going to take a look at his link set now and who he links well with. But yeah, that's pretty much it from his demo. I think overall he did really good. I think he looks very impressive in terms of raw numbers. And yeah, I think definitely a good unit. I really like him and I really like his set. So yeah, in terms of links, or at least specifically for this Trunks in terms of links, I think you can kind of break it down into focusing down on a couple areas. So obviously, as mentioned before, he's got Messenger from the future, he's got Cold Judgment, Royal Lineage, Z Fighters, Super Strike, Soul vs Soul, and Shattering the Limit. Soul vs Soul and Z Fighters and Super Strike being probably the weakest of that bunch. The rest I think are actually pretty decent. So just to start off with, just in terms of priority, I honestly think Shattering the Limit and Cold Judgment are going to be your most common links. Cold Judgment's great for his defense. I think you should really pick it up on any team. Not so necessary on a Saviors team, but definitely on a team without Saviors. It's really going to help increase his cap defense. There's not a lot of super options here, but as I mentioned before, the Prime Battle Trunks is a great unit to work with him, as well as the SS3 Trunks. Both of them also share Royal Lineage with him, so immediately you're getting 3 great links, 2 key links, and you're getting Cold Judgment, which at the end of the day is pretty rock solid. You could use something like Integrate Sandman on a Hybrid Sands team if you want to. It'll be a decent option, nothing spectacular, but it'll be something that can work quite well with him, especially considering both of them have a penchant for facing extreme enemies. Then next, I would say, honestly speaking, links like Z Fighters, not that great, really not too good to prioritize. You can see a couple options here, but there's nothing I would say is inherently good, nor is there any that really fall on his categories. Remember, he's on Future Saga, he's on Bond the Master and Disciple, Time Travelers, Saviors, Battle of Wits, Vegeta's Family, Android Cell Saga, and Trusted Will, Hybrid Sands. So really it needs to be a Hybrid Sands unit or like another Trunks unit essentially that you want to link him with, because those are going to share the majority of his categories. Other than that, there's no real need to like look for a specific linking partner. I mean, like, I would just favor ones that he can kind of get away well with. As a floating unit, he's pretty decent as well. You could definitely float him on a Saviors or a non-Saviors team. His defense is decent after super, which means floating him is a good option. And of course, you will give all your other allies 20% attack and defense and 1 key regardless. So Trunks is still a pretty decent option, if not a perfect option for floating. Very good unit with a wide selection of abilities to choose from. Whether floating on a Saviors or on a Hybrid Sands, he's going to give you something, and it's going to help you out a lot, especially with things like the Tech Gohan and Strength Gohan combo now that we have in stages and everything like that, I think he's very, very strong. So I think overall you got a lot of options. As you can see, there are plenty Trunks teen units that link great with him, but honestly just can't link with him because of the name set. So Trunks I think is great as a floating unit. I think personally, if I want to highlight how best to use him, I would say use him as a floater. I think that's going to get you the best performance overall. I think you're going to see the best performance from him there, and I think that's where he thrives. Tech Ultimate Gohan shares Cold Judgment with him, but they don't really share anything else. Although because of the way Trunks passive works, he can still work well off of both Tech and Strength Gohan, just simply because of the support passive mechanic and the key that he gives and all those sort of things. So he can still work alongside them, if any, Tech Gohan, because they share Cold Judgment. But that's about it from me, so let me know your thoughts, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and leave a comment if you need any help. That's gonna be it from me. I'll see you guys next time, so until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.